Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smashy Business Show. I'm Ward Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
And it is the 31st of January. It's a Friday. This month, it's almost, it's done. It's done. And it's almost over.
Such a nice, happy ending, like Friday and 31st. So we'll enter the new month after a cute small break, 2 days. Yeah. But you're going for the show, right? You're going for Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival.
But I'm actually really excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And you know, Majid, like, maybe this will make me sound like a fatty, but when I saw the food list, I was even more happy. No, really.
They have
bringing...
like, what is called? SEF Eats something.
So good. No, but by the way, the list is so good. No, I cannot emphasize this to you enough. They brought this stuff that they know all of us Dubai people like. Do you know what I mean? Like three fills. Three fills is basically like it's
anything
all
for
sushi.
3 fills?
Weirdly enough, they don't serve soy sauce, which I don't understand. But they're bringing 3 fills. They're bringing Temple Creamery.
Nice.
There's also gonna be what's also gonna be there? Bakery from El Sirkal and Brookie Bakehouse. And by the way, 3 fills and Temple Creamery are both Emirati homegrown brands. So and by the way, they're trending. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, I am immediately going. I am even more excited to actually go. Just because, like, I know the food is gonna be good, but just like speaking of experiences generally.
You went for a shoot, right?
Yeah, I did for Home Center. It was really cute. It was at Hidden Cafe Al Qudra, and
That's
you know,
far.
Majid, I actually live beside that area, but you know, I didn't know they had all this going on. Like they had Parkers, they had Hidden Cafe, and it was so nice. Like the seating area. I wouldn't recommend Hidden Cafe's food, but I would recommend their like Spanish latte, their matcha with coconut milk, desserts. But that's beside the point. Yesterday, I met this influencer. Oh my God, Majid. The conversation that me and this woman had. First of all, we had the same name, and we were both so weirded out by it. We're like, ooh, because we don't meet people called Werd. And then second, you know what? She's an influencer. And she asked me, she was like, oh, like, what do you do? And I was like, you know, I work for Augustus Media, Love in Dubai, Smashy Business. And then she said, hold up, why aren't you your own influencer? And like post, like, you know, like you're at this event right now, why don't you post? Yeah. And then I looked at her and I'm like, see, I get what you mean, but I like to post with purpose. Like I want to feel like I'm making a difference. Do you know? Of course I do post things sometimes, and then she told me, she was like, you know what? You have a good point because I'm an influencer and I post everything, but let me tell you a secret. I don't actually watch people who post what I post. Imagine! That's what she told me. Like, and all her content, by the way, is like beauty, fashion, like posing, all that good stuff. And she was like,
GRWM, get ready with me kind of stuff?
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, no, she's like a fashion icon, by the way. She was so beautiful. She was Indian and she was like, I don't watch people who do content like me. She went like, you're right. Like, it's just like, it's useless. Like, I'm not. But she makes it.
Yeah.
So,
I guess
do you see what I mean?
if you see too much of the competition, you somehow try to replicate them. Or at the back of your brain, maybe you'll get the same ideas.
No, she actually just meant she wasn't interested. Like, it's boring.
I don't know. I remember one actor saying this stuff. And it was a Bollywood actor, I remember. I don't know if it was Shah Rukh Khan or Amir Khan or some big guy. And he said this very interesting same point that I don't watch other actors' movies because I want to keep my unique thing alive. Because if I see too much of them, maybe I'll start replicating them in certain scenes. So I don't want to do that. So I want to keep my originality. So I avoid watching their movies. And he's like, I also don't watch my films because I don't want to get into a character for some movie and then come back and start doing that same thing again. So I want to go into a new character completely. So yeah, and maybe there is some science to it. That your brain, if you watch too much of the same thing with other people, maybe you'll get the same ideas. So it's better to not watch anything and be creative on your own.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But with her, she shocked me when she said that because it's like it was this like realization for me that what I was saying was right and that it's like true. Like all these things, they're so nonsensical. Yeah. Like whose life am I really impacting by being like pose and let's go? Like do you see what I'm saying?
Do
like,
love that stuff. I don't know who.
No.
They have millions of followers.
I'll give you an example. By the way, there's this girl on TikTok and her name is Anna Paul. She has an OnlyFans in Australia. And by the way, so many women are fans of her, like all over the world, by the way. Like not even her OnlyFans, more of like her personality on TikTok, her TikTok personality. And I remember my sister was speaking to me and she was like, honestly, I feel like they should block her content on TikTok. And I was like, why? I'm like, because she's a sweetheart, by the way, the girl on TikTok. She is. So all the girls loved her. And my sister was like, she is promoting that life. You don't realize it, but by you seeing her drive that G-Wagon, by you seeing her drive those cars, she's promoting young women to do what she does to get her life. And like I deeped it and I was like, ooh, like do you see, like people don't realize it, but you need to have an impact, you know, when you're posting, because people, whether consciously or consciously or unconsciously, it will impact them in a certain way. But anyways, let's get into our topics for today. For our first one, this is expected, but it's also so crazy to hear because that means that we're finally moving on from Expo 2020. But Expo City Dubai is actually going to turn Expo 2020's country pavilions into 280 luxury apartments and lofts. So essentially what happened is that Expo City Dubai has launched Al-Waha, a limited edition collection of 280 luxury apartments and lofts, which are basically being built to repurpose Expo 2020's country pavilions. Now it's basically going to include like one-bedroom apartments that start at 1.71 million dirhams, while two-bedroom lofts are going to be 3.97 million dirhams, and that the first units will be delivered by the end of 2026. That's so soon. Yeah. That's really so soon.
The thing is, Dubai Expo, the venue itself, it's so iconic. We saw how it went.
Did you go, Majid?
Yeah, I went twice actually.
Okay.
So I once came for an event for 2 days, and apparently when you take an Emirates flight, the ticket was free for 1 day. So you got a free annual pass, but it was hardly 90 dirhams, so it wasn't a bad fee to pay and get there. The second time I came with my wife and son, and then we went there. And I still know that I didn't see everything. 2 visits were not enough. I know people who went there for like 6-7 times just to get that passport fill. You remember that passport?
Yes!
They got like all 180 or 90 country stamps. And I was like, okay.
I get it. By the way, I get it. I remember back in school, one of my best friends, Shamsa, by the way, made sure to go to like Expo every single day, every single weekend. And not just that, Shamsa had a driver, but she chose to take the bus there. She was like, I love the feeling. I love the passport. And she made sure to get her entire thing stamped, Majid. Nice. But I get the excitement. And like, you know, when I'm taking a look at this story and how they're turning the entire area into, you know, literally luxury apartments and lofts. You know why this makes me almost so emotional? Like, it's great news. No, really, it's great. It's because it's like, this is finally the end of an era.
Yeah.
The Expo won't be there. And you know, Majid, when Expo was announced in 2013 and Dubai won the bid for it, I was just 7 years old. And I'll never remember, I'll like never forget, I was sitting with my family and they had the TV on, and I'm pretty sure it was Dubai TV. And I remember the fireworks, I remember the celebration, you know, moving to actually 2020 coming, the pandemic happening, them postponing it. Like, I feel like we lived such a long lifetime with Expo. And by the way, from Expo, so much came out of it. So much came out of Expo. Like, for example, like when I think of it, you know that they actually awarded 6.8 billion dirhams of contracts to small and medium-sized enterprises there. And not just that, like I have a really special story. You know Eliazi's business, which I always speak about, from the Arabs. I love it. Basically, she's an Emirati businesswoman and she founded from the Arabs. They make lovely candles, musk, oud, luban. She actually had a small shop at Expo. And it was actually one of the first she ever opened. And for her business, by the way, Expo was is what drove everything, because that's where she met her assistant, which is working for her to this day. That's where they met, became best friends, and she was like, okay, can you please help me run my business? And this assistant and her do absolutely everything together, by the way. So it's just, for me, like Expo, seeing the fact that like we're moving on, you know, we're finally moving on. But
that is why it's now called Dubai Expo City. There, the Dubai Exhibition Center there, the place which will soon become the Dubai World Trade Center, because World Trade Center is in the center of the city, causes a lot of traffic. And Dubai Expo City having that Dubai Exhibition Center, which is actually under Dubai World Trade Center, It was owned by the government, but then Dubai World Trade Center people bought that Dubai Exhibition Center. So now it's under Dubai World Trade Center's ownership. And that Dubai Exhibition Center is going to become the next DWTC. In most probably a year or two, they got the contract. They're like refurnishing, refurbishing, doing everything with it. So soon, even now, some of the events, I guess on Saturday we have some events, some shoots happening at Dubai Expo for some events. So people have actually started doing events there. And then these residential Al-Waha coming in.
I remember they hosted the last World Cup there, by the way. I went for the last
probably
World
they
Cup.
do a lot of events there.
I went to watch it there, and it was a really fun
and that,
experience.
the Wasl Dome, that's like the best place that I saw in Dubai Expo. Funnily, everyone liked what was happening, but the feeling of listening when you're in there, because I attended a small, not a concert kind of thing, a small orchestra thing, and the surround sound that you feel, you can't even get that feeling in a cinema. Trust me, it was so nice. And I talked to a few of the volunteers there. They were Pakistanis. I remember the first time I went, and I talked to them. I was like, this sounds really crazy. It feels like the sound is coming from literally everywhere. It's like the first time I'm using my ears to its full capacity.
Wow.
And then they explained me everything, that these are the sound systems we've placed like this, the lighting, the whole setup is so crazy.
It was so interesting.
It was like
Even
the
the
most
graphics.
world-class thing that you can build.
And did you see the architecture? One of the buildings that I'm still thinking about is the UK. The UK one, it was brown, and it was like it was going this way, and then even Saudi Arabia's.
Funnily,
Saudi Arabia.
the most beautiful one that was awarded, the most beautiful one was Pakistan's.
No way!
It was a very big news in Pakistan at that time.
I need to take a look at how it looks.
So they had a whole feel of like water, like you were walking on water through lights. So you would actually feel like you're going to fall down. So it was considered the most beautiful one. But yeah, I went to the Germany one. I loved the Germany one, not on the basis of its beauty, but on the basis of what they presented there. The very first time I saw windows which could tint and you could still look outside. So they had apparently a very weird system where you had a meter on the side. So when you look at the window, you change the meter, you won't feel anything. But it will become, from anyone standing outside, won't be able to see inside. Or you can make it completely transparent that people from outside can see inside. So I was like, what's the purpose of this? It was energy management. So in summers, we see in Dubai, there's a lot of sun. And because of that, your rooms heat up. So you use more AC. So they were like, this makes energy consumption go down because it tints it, but you can still look outside. And the energy consumption comes down. I was like, Germans building stuff that we can't even think of. And then they had a ball pit, like the biggest ball pit. So
but you know, more than that, I remember I went through this one simulation. I don't know if you visited that one, Majid, but basically it was about how, I don't remember where these farmers were stationed, but it was basically about how like they get a lot of rain during the year, but what it ends up doing is it destroys their crops. And how they made these things and they started presenting them in the fields to actually soak up the rain. It was so interesting. And it they showed a visual, and I felt like I was right there with those farmers where they are. So the entire thing was a learning experience.
I would just be curious for Riyadh Expo now, which is the next expo happening.
It's happening in 2030.
Yeah, to be honest, what we saw at Dubai Expo was technology at its peak by every country. But now we're in the age of AI. So Riyadh Expo will be like, you'll see AI products or AI things that you don't see in the world, because some of them are being worked by countries secretly. We'll create this. So you'll see a lot of stuff there. We'll definitely
We're
visit
seeing
it.
a lot of stuff now. I mean, I was telling Majid this, like, DeepSeek, it came out of nowhere. It literally came out of nowhere. Like, who was DeepSeek like a few days ago? No, seriously, I didn't even know her name. I didn't know she existed.
DeepSeek is weird. There's every day there's like 10 news coming out of it. The recent yesterday also at the end I talked about it, but since yesterday the irony is being shown to OpenAI and Microsoft, because apparently Microsoft is investigating if they used the chips which were H100s, which are the most advanced chips right now, GPU based chips, by NVIDIA. Microsoft thinks they used that. They say they didn't. They used H800s. So everyone is showing Microsoft the irony that you guys trained your OpenAI ChatGPT on publicly available data. You scraped the whole internet to train your model, and now you're crying that, oh, they stole our data. Actually, you stole the data in the first place from the world. Basically, whatever you put up as public on any platform, they scraped through that, train their models. So that's the funny part. That's the irony that is being thrown into Microsoft and OpenAI's face right now. The latest update is that Microsoft is investigating that most probably China and DeepSeek got H100s through Singapore. So, because Singapore is on the country list where they're allowed to get as many chips as possible from NVIDIA. They're on the white list of US export. So, let's see what comes out. Maybe Singapore will come back with a reply that, bro, what are you doing?
This is going to be really interesting to hear. And for our second topic of the day, it's Amjad Masad, the founder and CEO of Replit. Now, Masad here is, I really find this man very interesting because you know what? He stands for the truth.
Yeah.
He really does stand for the truth. If he supports you once, doesn't mean that he's going to support you every single time. Because a while ago, did you see how he was like, you know, good on Trump to cut through the BS that TikTok is actually a very non-threatening app because of the fact that it mostly has kids on it. And then he proceeded to say that the TikTok panic is because kids dare to criticize Israel. Now here, we saw how Masad was agreeing with Donald Trump. However, he is not agreeing with him right now. So basically, Trump actually signed an executive order to combat anti-Semitism. Now, Amjad Masad responded on X saying, why not combat anti-Black, anti-Sikh, or anti-Asian hate? So, you know, we're clearly seeing here that while he can agree with Donald Trump, he can also criticize him when, you know, something does seem slightly fake. I think it's very interesting that, you know, Trump passed such an order to combat anti-Semitism.
Apparently, he signed this when he signed the 60-plus executive orders on his first day. But it recently came out, because it was announced everywhere by the White House, that this is one of the orders that was signed and now it's in place. The funny thing is, usually when we see these news, it's usually the Western media which is coming out to defend these decisions. Because anti-Semitism, we saw what happened in the Gaza genocide. Every Western media outlet was supporting Israel in the start. Oh no, they have the right to self-determination or this and that. But funnily, yesterday when I Googled this, all Western media, thankfully now, I guess they got open eyes or maybe they want clicks. All the headlines were that Trump's this order is not against anti-Semitism. It's mainly about pro-Palestinian activists. So it's not about anyone else saying bad stuff about Jews or talking about or discussing anti-Semitism. Every Western media outlet, Guardian especially, Trump order targets pro-Palestinian activists. That's their headline. That is what they're leading with. I don't know if it's for clicks or like literally they have their eyes open now. But the main idea of the executive order is, I'll read it out so it's better that you get the gist of it.
Go ahead.
That he's instructed federal agencies and the Justice Department that they will identify available civilian and criminal authorities in order to combat anti-Semitism, specifically by deporting resident aliens such as students with visas who were found to have broken the law during protests. And the protest that they're talking about is the October 7 to October 10, the first 3 days in 2023 when everything started. Actually, the whole thing started way back, but that October 7 date is given as the first day when it literally this mass genocide actually started in 2023. And they will identify all the students from universities and they will cancel their visas and send them back home.
Specific. It is so specific.
It's a very clear instruction from Trump, and this shows him leaning towards whatever we see in the US. Everyone was criticizing Biden and Kamala Harris that they are very pro-Palestinian. anti-Palestinian, and they're very pro-Israel. And some thought that Trump, being a businessman, won't be like that. But then we saw Trump saying a lot of stuff.
But you should have seen his rallies. He said, I think that in his rallies, he knew how to lie in a way to rally the Arab people on his side. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like when Biden was in power, it's interesting. Just right after he, almost before he stepped off, he signed an $8 billion arms deal with Israel. And now we see that just as Trump is stepping into power, this is what he's doing. And it really, like Majid, it's so unfortunate for these students. It really is, because of the fact that, a lot of them go to Ivy Leagues and they do really great. Because obviously, if you're in an Ivy League, come on, you'll drop out if you're not doing great.
One of my friends, she actually got a Fulbright scholarship from Pakistan. Fulbright is the US aid-funded scholarship that a lot of countries get, mostly the underdeveloped countries. So Pakistan is on the country list, and there's only 2 people that go every year from Pakistan. So they have a seat quota. So she got selected. She went to George Washington University. The funny thing that happened with her, it's not funny to be honest, it's interesting, that as soon as she landed there, she had an uncle who was living there with his family, daughters and everything. One of the daughters was killed in a mass shooting by a white student. So she was in George Washington University. She was studying political science, doing masters in it. And that is when she organized the whole protest against it. I still look at her pictures of protests. She has it as her DP, where she's standing on the podium and shouting like against gun laws. Like no one should be allowed to have guns so easily like they have in US.
Yeah, and it's interesting how Trump, instead of trying to find a way to actually target the students that are taking part in gun violence, he's targeting the students that are protesting for peace, that are protesting for a free Palestine.
They just wanted the Israel genocide to end in Gaza. They were not saying kill Israel or bomb Israel. The only thing that was evident from the posters and the news reports. I don't trust the news report during that time because everything was so biased or one-sided. But you see the pictures, you just Google October 7, 2023 protests in US, you'll see every single placard saying, stop the genocide. No one will be saying that stop Israel or bomb Israel or kill Jews. There is nothing like that. And also the second thing that was most common among those placards is stop funding Israel with your arms and ammunition. So that is what was happening, and I think it's a bad sign.
And we recently also saw how Trump released an order to stop aid to all countries except for 2. Egypt and Israel, and I think that was really really interesting. But the interesting one for me, Majid, wasn't the fact that he's going to continue giving aid to Israel. For me, it was Egypt. I was really intrigued by that one. Yeah,
we have to find the details of that because it was a very interesting thing that it's Israel and Egypt. Also, the US aid thing that we just talked about.
I think it signals not just towards Egypt having a good relationship with the US, but I think it signals with the fact that Egypt has a good relationship with Israel. I think that's kind of what it pointed out to me.
If you look at Abraham Accords, which make the political affiliations and all the problems go away between countries, Bahrain, Oman, and UAE signed it. To normalize trade relations with Israel. I don't think Egypt was a part of it, but most probably we saw when Trump was coming to power, it's going a little too political, but you have to understand that some economics is attached to it, that after the trade relations, because of Abrahamic Accords, and the Abrahamic Accords were signed in Trump's era, so it was like one of his biggest wins. So as soon as he came into power, I remember just before he was being inaugurated, the last rally that he did, I remember he said that I want to bring Saudi Arabia on table for Abrahamic Accords as well. So that's his planning, that he wants Saudi Arabia to normalize trade relations with Israel as well, because again, it's a very big economy. Israel will benefit a lot from that. But the Saudi line is very clear. They're like, until and unless you establish a separate Palestinian nation, we're not even going to sit on the table. We're not even going to listen to anything. So that's a very good line that they have, a very good directive, very good decision by them. But you have to understand that this is all about the trade war. It's not political, it's trade, it's money. There's capital behind all these motivations.
Money is always political, though.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Let me tell you, it always is. But anyways,
good thing Amjad Masad criticized it,
Yeah.
and it's one of the very obviously stating the obvious kind of thing that he has said. But that's the thing. He is in America. A lot of people are scared of Trump because he has this way of like making people silent because he avenges everyone he doesn't like. So that's the good thing, that he is still maintaining his position
Yeah.
on things. And him being a Jordanian guy who was eventually like got an American passport and built Replit, a very nice software solution for people like you and me who can
Yeah.
literally go on it and just create a software using a chat
I still
GPT.
find that. I still find that absolutely
I tried
crazy.
that Replit because I was just curious, like how did it work? But it's a little complicated, but they're making it easier day by day. So soon enough, they just announced an AI agent like 2 months or 3 months ago. So now you have an AI agent helping you, not a human agent, but an AI agent helping you create whatever app you want for your phone. So you can like literally work for anything that you want to do every day. You can just create an app using Replit.
Crazy.
But,
And anyways,
yeah.
moving on to more good news. This is about fixed chocolate. You know, the Dubai chocolate, our favorite chocolate right now. So basically what happened is Ziad Dawood, Bloomberg's chief Middle East economist, posted on X that Germans resist food trends, but even they love the Dubai chocolate. And when I actually dug deeper into all of this, I actually discovered that the Dubai chocolate craze in Germany is absolutely insane. No,
Yeah.
imagine it's like crazy. They're going crazy over it. And especially with this chocolate that's called the Aldon Chocolat Dubai style, which sold out in Berlin in 4 days. They're basically selling it in 500 grams per bar. And do you know for how much? $71 per bar. And if you know the actual original fixed chocolate in Dubai, it's actually sold for $18. So the fact that they're selling it in Germany for $71, they are absolutely ripping people off.
Funny thing is, people are buying it.
No, I mean, look. The fact that they're buying it,
Yeah.
I kind of sort of understand it because
Yeah.
it's like a rarity, you know? It's
Yeah.
such a rarity. And not just that, if you think about it, Majid, Sarah Hamouda, the founder of Fixed Chocolate, you know, she's British Egyptian and she's an expat in Dubai. She actually created a whole new dessert. Like, you know how we have brownies and then, you know, we have cheesecake. She actually created a new class of desserts. And that class of desserts is called Dubai chocolate. And I just find that so crazy. You know, the same way that, you know, you have Swiss chocolate. You know, we're always saying, oh, like, you know when you have a friend who goes over to Switzerland, you're like, please get me Lindt. It's like, this is the new Lindt of the world. It's the Dubai chocolate and it's crazy. But $71? That's crazy. I wouldn't do that, by the way. If I was aware something was cheaper, I'd just wait to land in Dubai.
I only think that this is going to get bigger. We're just hearing news about Europe, but America is most probably going to get affected. And there are reports that fixed chocolate aunties and uncles are requesting it from me.
Okay.
So I can't send it because, again, the real one has an expiry, or at least it goes bad after 2-3 days.
But some people, by the way, put it in their fridge and they still eat it. But for me, you know, Majid, I actually like the Dubai chocolate. Like, I've tried it. My favorite one is the one with the pretzels. Yo, that's a good one. I feel like the kunafa one is like the overhyped one, but the one with pretzels and peanut
OG
butter.
one, that is why I guess it gets the most limelight, right?
It's too good. But anyways, point is that in Germany, it got so famous to the point that, you know, a bunch of these different makers actually, you know, they came together, one of them raised the lawsuit, and then a German court actually ruled that a supermarket cannot sell a product as Dubai chocolate unless it's actually made in the Emirate. And this is so interesting because they're basically saying if you want to sell Dubai chocolate, buy the one from Dubai and then you can come resell it here. But I'm really so confused by this. But yeah, I just her entire story, I find it so inspiring. I really do. But I hope that it doesn't end up just being a trend. Because basically, Majid, like 3 years ago here, all of our food had Cheetos on it. It was all Cheetos. No, really, like the Cheetos burger, the Cheetos mac and cheese. I think it was like at Parker's. Everything was Cheetos. And they still do it in like some cafes in Jumeirah, but like that was like the trend. It was Cheetos, and now I'm like seeing it in every single cafe. They're putting kunafa and everything, but I won't lie to you though. Belaban is doing it right. Have you ever tried Belaban?
No, I have to.
Majid.
I went there with my friends once and
God.
it was too crowded, so we came out, but we have to try it.
Let me tell you, by the way, I still stand in the crowded line. Actually, I don't stand. I make my male cousin stand. I won't do that. But point is that, Majid, it's so good. It's even better than the Dubai chocolate, in my opinion.
The conversation just reminded me of how, so you were talking about how she's created a new dessert. I remember Mr. Beast. One of the videos, just I was scrolling, I saw someone asked him like, why did you create a chocolate brand, Feastables? And he was like, you see the chocolate brand, chocolate market, there is no competition. These are the like fixed players, 2-3 big players that everyone eats. So I was like, this is very easy to enter. And he's like, I make nearly $200 million from that business every year. So I think that is the market that Sara Hamuda has tapped into, where there is no competition because you have established players. So there is very easy way to just break the mold that they're selling and try something new.
And I feel like especially with chocolate, it's not just fixed players, as you said.
Yeah.
It's also players that have been there for such a while that we're all so bored of them. Like I remember there was a time
you want to try
where
something new.
I remember there was a time where like me and my family would always eat Cadbury. But now, Majid, I even feel like I'm betraying them. But I never grab a Cadbury. I don't do it anymore because it's like I'm like over you, you know, I'm over that phase. So she definitely provided something new there. But anyways, go to Bleban and order their kushari. Order their kushari. It's amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Friday. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your Friday. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Make sure to follow our newsletter on Smashy TV, and please follow us on all our channels, and have a beautiful weekend.